What up, my guys? Over to the show, man. It took me a while to realize that it was some drums in there too. So I gotta hit the drums. You dig what I'm saying, man? My brother used to play the shit out them drums. What's up with you, Shark? Everything cool with you? We missed you on the show, my brother. Everything cool with you?
Absolutely. Taking a breath here. April 13th, 2022, winning Wednesday. 2 games on the card. I'm traveling across country. I'm in a closet. Jay Money is at the Circa Pool in Las Vegas. Polarized worlds exist. And 2 games on the card today. Jay Money lead the way. Let's get into it and let's dominate.
Let's get into it, my guy. Hey, you looking good in the closet. Hey, Shark over there recording the album right now in the closet, man. That's where it really goes down, man. But nah, looking good, man. We can see you, we can hear you, and that's what matters, my guy. Let's get straight to it, man. Let's go over here to the streets of Atlanta here, Shark. We got the Hawks here laying 5.5, shopping around. Still a couple of 5s out there, man. We got the Hornets here. They're getting 5.5, Shark. Man, I think Borrego might get axed after this. The Hornets, they should be a much better team, man. They're poorly coached. The Hawks, so these two teams have the same record, right, Shark? But we know that the Hawks they've been underperforming pretty much all season, starting to play better basketball going into the playoffs. Trae Young quoted saying the regular season was boring. Well, it's time to turn up now, Trae. This is a win or go home, man. You got to come and ball out. We eating hot wings today, Shark? What we doing?
Absolutely. Straight business on a suddenly not so casual winning Wednesday, April 13th, 2022. The buy hat is engaged, but the buy hat is impacting all the good energy coming from that hat to our existence right here. State Farm Arena, home locker room, 1 unit, Atlanta -5. Taking a breath, there's a ton to unpack here. As you said, Atlanta came out extremely lackluster this year, but Atlanta and Charlotte are both situationally spot specific. And you have to go through the 4 matchups. Line functionality has not mattered here at all. First matchup of the year, go back early season in Atlanta, 115-105. Atlanta on a 7.5. It came in at 7.5 again, which was a little short considering the second matchup, only 9 players for the Hornets suited up that day. And the Hornets did steal a game there, 130-127. Talking to my man Punch School about this. He'll be on here on Friday afternoon, Happy Hour Hoops. He talks about shot dispersion and shot efficiency. In that particular game, the Hornets shot absolutely lights out in the gym, 6 for 10 from Kelly Oubre from 3. Again, 9 players, 130 points. Fatigue, it shouldn't have happened. Then it came back. Jay knows this. A Jay Money special on a Sunday afternoon in Charlotte, 113-91 Atlanta, where, of course, on Sunday, Charlotte just has an inability to play basketball. And most finally, where I had correctly, Hornets 116-106 on a Hornets -1 there. But unpacking a little bit deeper, what's really going on here? Both teams play very good at home and very poor on the road. Atlanta comes in here off a road game, a cover at the Rockets. They're 9-0-1 coming home off a road game since January 23rd. And Charlotte has frankly been awful on the road in these spots. Charlotte has a couple covers on the road at Pelicans, at Thunder, at a cratering Bulls team, at a mediocre Knicks team, and at the Knicks in Kyrie Irving's first game at home, which was ambiguous. 3 spots, which I think correlate to tonight. At Miami, blown out, gave up 144. At Philly, gave up 130 plus, blown out. At Milwaukee, 130-106. Final point, last year in the playing game, Charlotte did go on the road in the 9-10 game to Indiana and lose the game 144-117. The line is on Atlanta. Situation's on Atlanta. Top spot tonight, Atlanta -5, -5.5. That was a lot of information. Jay Money, talk to him.
I like it, bro. And then also a lot of good information. You see what I'm saying? That's the only thing that matters. But Hawks also coming in here 4-0 against the spread. Last 4 first halves at home as well. That's what I'm rocking with. To put a little something on the Hawks here, -5. I do agree with that full game play as well, Shark. I'm riding with you on that. And it's crazy because Ronald come on here earlier today. He likes the Hawks in the first quarter. So we're on a collectively Hawks trifecta spot. Ronald first quarter, me first half, Shark in the full game here, man. We know that the Hawks defense should come in here and clamp down. I see guys like Bogdanovich going off from 3. I didn't bet the 3s, but Bogdanovich, some I have seen with him, he is kind of nursing a sore knee. That's why he's been questionable the past basically last 2-3 weeks of the season. So Bogdanovich not really driving to the paint, but he's staying on the 3-point line and let Trae Young and the guys drive in and then kick it out to him. So I really see that Bogdanovich 3 prop hitting it. I didn't take it, but just talking the game out with you guys, Huerta should have a good game. I know I see some sharp captors on him over 12.5 points. these are the guys that have to make shots and have to play some all right defense as well. DeAndre Hunter is going to have to play defense, man. Capella, you're going to have to be strong at the rim, and Trae Young is going to have to play some defense as well. You can't let LaMelo Ball get hot from three and do whatever the hell he wants, but we'll ride with the better defensive team here, Shark. They shouldn't even be in this play-in game as well, and I definitely don't see them going home tonight. So I'm liking the Hawks here with you. I took them first half -3, riding with you full game as well, -5, 5.5. Let's cash it, my brother. Let's go get some hot wings. You see what I'm saying? Anything else on this one, brother?
Yeah, actually.
What you think about the coaching? What you think about? I think we got a huge coaching advantage with the Hawks as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. And I do think, as you made the point, we said this yesterday. You saw two really tight games. Those were between the 7 and 8 seeds. So theoretically, again, in yesteryear, those are the playoff teams. When you get to 9, 10, oftentimes you do get a talent drop-off. And of course, yes, they do have the same record, but that is not telling you the actual story here. Atlanta went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. You talk about experience. They do have significant postseason experience. They were actually 3-0 ATS in the first game of a series last year. Game 1 at Knicks, Game 1 at Philly, and Game 1 at Milwaukee. They come out when they have to. And as you mentioned, in a defensive style of game, they can really bring the physicality and slow down the pace of Charlotte and get out to the perimeter, hands in their face, body up on them, which really should suck the life out of what the Hornets do, which is, of course, sprint and shoot threes. And you saw the total has come down, 237.5, 235.5 now. We talked about this last night. The unders are good looks. I think the under is actually a solid look in this game as well. Two
corollary games where I see how this one going. Like you said, when you can bring good sticky defense versus these guys like the Sixers did and the Heat, they tend to get blown out and stop playing. Like when the Hornets their offense isn't working, they stop playing defense as well. So that's why you see the Heat and the Sixers put up 144 against them in back-to-back games. You bring the defense, everything else will come, my guys. Everybody in the chat, man, I appreciate y'all. Joe, I see you in the chat. My guy James as well, my brother. I appreciate y'all. As always, man, we're a community here. If you guys have some plays, post them in the chat as well, man. We all trying to cash totals, first half totals, first quarter, some props. Post them in the chat, man. We all trying to cash. Let's go over here to another more birds. You see what I'm saying? We're going to the streets of New Orleans here. Maybe a little Mardi Gras, a little NOLA style crawfish. Pelicans laying 5.5 at the house here, Shark, versus the Spurs, right? Spurs they were playing well. It's crazy because they've somewhat owned the Pelicans. 8-2 against the spread last 10, 8-1 against the spread last 9. But I do think that the Pelicans have a switch that they can flip, and we also find the better defensive team here as well at the house with more weapons. They have a big three with CJ McCollum, with Valanciunas and Brandon Ingram over there. So I see CJ McCollum going off, Shark. I put a little something on him over 26.5. I see that's the only path to the Pelicans having a good game. His points and assists have to go over, and he's going to have to bring that veteran mentality here. What you think about CJ and the boys in this one, Shark? I know it's a tough game for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a good line point on that over. We talk about this all the time in terms of props and also just ATS sides and totals. When Vegas is giving you a higher average than his season average, which is 24.3 points per game, they're telling you an over story here. And of course, even in recent losses to the Spurs, he has gone off. I believe he had 36 points and was shooting 65% or higher from the field in one of those games. And speaking of those losses, the Pelicans have lost 3 in a row at home to the Spurs. The road team in this series, uncannily, has more or less owned the environment going back the last 2 seasons. This game for me is going to be really tough because I asked one question. When you go through the 4 matchups this year, they were all absolute blowouts against the spread. 112.97 Spurs at home on a -2, so a 13 gap against the spread. Then the Spurs came into New Orleans in the middle of the rodeo road trip. You remember this, of course. They got smoking hot. They covered almost every single first quarter. They were covering every single game. Road, back-to-backs, 3rd and 4s, didn't matter. And that one was an inflated 6.5 for New Orleans. That was a 16.5 gap. That was CJ McCollum's second game with the team, which made some sense, of course, as there were growing pains coming to the lineup. And then the Pelicans came into the Spurs and absolutely hammered them which we had correctly, 124 to 91 and a +2, so a 35 gap there. And then most finally 107, 103, Spurs again in New Orleans at +6 again. So another 10 gap there. So everything's been a massive blowout. So you ask yourself a question. Now that it's a one-off for essentially the season here, is this going to be tighter, or is this trend going to continue where one side of this game just goes nuts against the spread? The line functionality has not mattered. The Spurs are scrappy on the road. The Pelicans are in a new position. First playoff game with this group. Brandon Ingram coming back. Jay, I don't have a really good read on this game at all, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I do think that one of these games will be close, and this could be the one. I do think that Pelicans get a close win. So, like I say, I don't usually give out like a money line parlay, but this one I want to stay away from the spread. So I did take Hawks and Pelicans full game parlay. It was at +115. So I mean, I couldn't talk myself off that. You dig what I'm saying? I do see both teams getting the win. I do think they're slightly better defensive squads as well, and overall teams just from start to bottom as far as the bench and the first unit. So I know that the Spurs have basically owned them in past years, but guys, we got to look at it as well. Those were a lot different Spurs teams and Pelican teams as well. This is one of the best Pelican teams that we've seen in recent years, and this is one of the worst Spurs teams that we've seen in recent years. I think Pop knows it as well, whether this is his last game for the Spurs or not. I do think this will be the last game of the season for the Spurs over there. So I'll be honest, I didn't have enough to lay the 5.5 with the Pelicans. Could be a close game, but I do see Jay going for 30 in his sleep. And I do see the Pelicans win this game, guys. So and see what happens. It is a tough, great games to watch, Shark. I mean, what do you think, bro? Just real quick, how do you feel about these play-in games, bro? These one-offs. We're not used to this shit, man. I know me. I like the playoffs. I like to get in the playoffs, watch the first game, come back with something nice in game 2 and game 3. This one-off shit, really anything can happen, Shark. Just real quick, what you think about these play-in games?
I think it's a good question. I think something people don't talk about a lot, and I talked about this at the back end of the season when teams were not tanking games at the end of the year because they have a week off. I think this is an unspoken thing. LeBron James has had a ton of influence on the restructuring of the league calendar. He is very much in the ear of Adam Silver. Adam Silver is a players commissioner, and I think a large part of this actually is the teams that are in the top 6 get a full week off. And that is what they wanted going into the second season. And of course, within the actual structure of it, I do like it. Obviously it's not 100 or 0. I lean towards liking it. I like keeping more fan bases involved. I like keeping more teams involved. Teams like the Spurs that are pushing down the stretch, competing in games, making regular season games a lot more interesting than they would have been otherwise. I do think the one hole in it, obviously, is when you get a team that's so far superior in the 7 hole, and then they have to play a one-off. And, of course, I think Luka Doncic talked about that last year and a couple other guys. A lot of things going on, but I would lean probably about 60, 63, 4% towards it's good for the league if I had to.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. This is the one bad thing is like it was obviously the Cavs. It's their fault that they slid down to the season, but it's one perfect example where they had a really good season. They happened to fall down to the 7, and then with the play-in tournament, even though they had the 7th best record, they probably won't even be in the playoffs because they're going to lose both play-in games. So it's pretty tough, but it happens, my guys. But I just wanted to know your thoughts. Obviously, everybody feels different. I like the games. I love watching NBA. I'm just talking about from betting perspective. These aren't heavy spots for me, but still love the game, man. Every NBA game, but just real quick, man. Hey, got plenty of shirts on the way, man. Just put an order in, 500 shirts. Hit me up, NbaTalkWithJay@gmail. If you like a shirt, hit me up. If not, it's all good, man. I can dig it. Free NBA picks, Shark. Let's get to it. Whatever you got. Closing words. The floor is yours, brother. And what we like in today's official play.
One further point before I segue out. I do think also you just put yourself in a professional environment. If these teams fall to 7 and they can't win one game to get into the playoffs, they're not meant to be there. So maybe if they caught a heater the first 50, that didn't mean they were supposed to be there. So I think it does bring a very straightforward meritocracy to the end of the season. You win and you're in. It shouldn't be that hard if you're good enough. And speaking of being good enough, top play of the day, Atlanta -5, 5.5. Went through it in detail. Atlanta revenge game, 5-point gap, very strong. Charlotte not traveling well on the road at all. Atlanta coming home off a road game, 9-0-1 ATS last 10. This is where Atlanta's going to turn up. The line is telling a great story. Atlanta should get there tonight by 8+. Punch Squad and I had discussed this. We think this could get to 11 or higher. as well. Jay Money, a pleasure. Winning Wednesday happy hour hoops. Be back Friday. Close them out and let's dominate.
Yeah, and my closing words on it, I think to fix the play-in tournament, the J Money GM style, I say let the 7 get in. No disrespect to the Cavs or even trying to help them. Obviously, if they had Jared Allen, they wouldn't be in this position. But I do still think that it's a little bit disrespectful for the 7. If anything, have it. I think that they should fix it and fix this whole tanking shit. Extend it where the 7 seed is in. People are fighting for the last 8 seed. Do maybe something 8, 9, 10, 11. Then maybe they give less incentive for the lower tier teams to tank and more incentive to try at least to get into the playoffs. So that's just me. Obviously, everybody will have their own theory. They could keep it the way it is, set a line, and we're gonna try to get some cash, man. I'm rocking with the Hawks -3 in the first half. I'm gonna ride with my guy Shark as well. The Hawks full game -5.5. Hawks 4-0 against the spread, last 4 at home in the first half. They're really starting to show signs to get to play a lot better at the house. I do see a trifecta spot coming for the Hawks tonight. Get in, start out early on these boys and put them away, smack them up by double digits here. And I'll go with CJ McCollum. I'll put a half unit on CJ McCollum over 26.5 points. And Hawks Pelicans full game money line parlay +115. Let's get some cash, man. It's my guy at Sharks and Sports. Go and follow him on Twitter. You can follow me as well at J Money is Money. Let's get some cash, my guys. We out.